Look around you. The most successful people you know weren't necessarily born with a silver spoon. Many of them started with nothing. They just refused to stay where they were. They believed they were capable of more and they acted like it. They showed up early, they stayed late, they learned from failure, and they didn't quit. They didn't wait for someone to pick them. They chose themselves. They believed they were worth the effort, worth the grind, worth the process. You've got that same choice. You don't need permission. You don't need someone to validate you. You don't need a perfect background or a spotless record.
Scars are there to remind you the past was real, but that's just it, the past. Your past is your past. It is meant for you to learn the lesson, not meant for you to stick in it. I implore you as a man, no one is going to feel sorry for you. No one is you gotta get out there.
You can flip the fact that you have nothing going for you with you have nothing to lose. And that means that you can take lots of risks very quickly and end up in the exact same position you are, which is nothing. And so if you eliminate downside, it should decrease your action threshold, meaning you should be able to do more things faster rather than do fewer things because you don't have a great life or things going for you. And so I think if people flip that, a lot more people would take action because they actually realize the advantage of their position.
Just take someone who's trying to get in shape. I mean, people will, what kind of protein powder should I get? What knee sleeves do I need? What are the best weightlifting shoes? And all that stuff is like the last 2% of difference. It's mostly like, don't miss workouts and get your reps in. This is what in the book I call the difference between motion and action. Action can actually deliver a result, but motion is related to that, but never will. Like going to the gym and talking to a personal trainer about signing up. That's fine. That's related to getting in shape, but it doesn't matter how many times you talk to a personal trainer, you're never going to get in shape. Whereas like doing 10 squats, that actually can do something. It's like talking to the trainer is motion, doing squats is action.
The only thing standing between you and your goals is the decision to start and the discipline to continue. That's it. The problem is most people don't believe they're capable. They think success is something that happens to other people. So they shrink their dreams. They settle for just enough. They convince themselves it's not for them. But the truth is, it could be for them if they just choose it. If they stop making excuses, if they stop playing small. Success is a choice that shows up in your daily habits, in your mindset, in your grind. Every day you're either choosing it or you're choosing something else. You can't keep saying, I want more, while living like you're okay with less. If you want more, you have to move different, think different, work different. You have to start carrying yourself like the person you're trying to become. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. The person who succeeds doesn't wait until they feel ready. They act now and grow along the way.
Something happened back in the day. The person that did that to you back in the day have gone on. You can't be a prisoner to that. And even if you are, no one is going to accept it for a viable solution. You need to understand my message for you guys is this. You have to do more than just listen. You have to actually get in your wallet, actively engaged. Yes, I am telling you, counseling, life coaches, these are the things you have to do in order to fix it. Again, you're not competent enough to run your own life. When I was down that low, I wasn't competent enough either. I reached out to other people for help, but I actually did work before I reached out. There's no shame in a downturn. And so many of you guys are living life ashamed of where you are. I'm behind at 35 years old. I should not be here. I should be there. Okay, the only shame is to continue to sit there and act like pouting about it or act like it's going to change because you feel bad. No, I tell you need to get another job and I tell you go work at a convenience store, but you got too much pride to go do that. Any honest day's work for an honest wage. You know why you don't want to go there? Because you don't want somebody to see you there. That's a goddamn problem.
They have nothing objectively to lose. And so everything that they feel like they have to lose is purely made up in their mind. It's stories they tell themselves about what other people are going to think about them. Because people say it's society, it's other people. It's like, it's usually one or two voices. And if you can get really specific on whose voice it is, then you can name it. And then like, I think I'm a big believer in like shame only exists in the shadows, which is like, once you put it in the light, you look at it and you're like, my mom? That was really it? Like when I really think about it, it's because it's not even just my mom, it's my mom in this circumstance. When I come back home for Thanksgiving, I just am so afraid of the comment that she's gonna make. It's like, well, what if we confront that? Okay, your mom, you sit down at Thanksgiving dinner and you haven't made money yet and you quit your job. Now what? Is that better than you spending the next 60 years hating her or resenting her for the fact that she held you back? If we think about success in terms of layers, like foundations, right? The base level, like when you're digging the building where you put the hole and you pour the concrete in, the base of the entire thing is who is in power? Who is source? Because if it's anything but you in that base layer, all of the other things on top of them will topple down.
You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. Make the choice to show up. Make the choice to stay hungry. Make the choice to stay in the game even when you feel like quitting. That's how you build momentum. That's how you build confidence. That's how you build a legacy. It won't be easy. You'll have days where you question everything. You'll face failure, doubt, disappointment. But guess what? So did every successful person before you. The difference is they kept choosing the goal. They kept showing up. They didn't let the pain stop them. They let it shape them. And every day they made a decision to rise, to grind, to grow. The beautiful thing is you get to decide. You can choose average or you can choose excellence. You can choose comfort or you can choose growth. You can choose excuses or you can choose results. The power has always been in your hands, but you've got to believe it. You've got to own it because no one's coming to save you. No one's going to hand you your dream. You have to chase it. You have to fight for it. You have to claim it like it already belongs to you. So stop waiting to be chosen. Stop waiting for the right time. Start now. Choose success. Choose focus. Choose discipline. Choose your dream. Every time you get up early, every time you work through the pain, every time you say no to distractions, that's you choosing success. And if you keep choosing it long enough, with enough passion and enough commitment, one day success will choose you right back.
Excuses are the comfort zones of the mind, the lies we tell ourselves to justify staying the same. They are the chains that hold us back from becoming everything we were meant to be. Excuses are easy. They come naturally. When something's hard, when life gets uncomfortable, when we don't see immediate results, the mind tries to protect us by offering an escape route. An excuse. An excuse. I don't have time. I'm too tired. It's not the right moment. I wasn't born with talent. These phrases become the soundtrack of a life stuck in neutral, going nowhere fast. But if you want to rise and grind, if you want to reach that higher level of success, you've got to stop making excuses and start making adjustments. Excuses are about staying the same. Adjustments are about growth. Excuses say, this is why I can't. Adjustments ask, how can I? That's a completely different mindset. One is rooted in fear and limitation. The other is rooted in power and possibility. The moment you stop giving energy to your excuses is the moment you begin to take control of your life. You see, life doesn't care about your reasons. It cares about your results. No matter how valid your excuses may seem, they don't build your dreams. They don't put in the work. They don't make the sacrifices. They don't push you forward. That's on you. You gotta own your life.
You ain't there yet. If you worry about what somebody was, I didn't care if somebody saw me. Somebody saw me doing that stuff. I was like, you're damn right. I'm here and I'm making money. I had people who saw me when after my divorce and everything, waiting tables. That was a skill I had acquired. I'm like, yeah, what you don't realize, I'm making $100 a day, making more than I was making over here. And yeah, I'm having to bring you your bread and everything else, but I'm getting money. And then 6 months later, they're like, how are you driving around a BMW? Because everything I had was a plan. All those menial jobs, part of a plan. I went to work with the greatest attitude because I knew I wasn't going to be there long because it was part of a plan. People run into me, man, I remember you was a waiter at so-and-so, and now it's part of a plan. Winning in power, your mindset. And I got there because I've had help along the way. I've had coaches along the way. I've had life coaches. I've had therapy. I've had all these things. I spent thousands of dollars. I didn't do my own style. I didn't do my own image consult. I went to a professional. If I can, so can you. Guys, you know, when I said that thing about going out and not having money, tell you, dude, that's a horrible feeling. To know you ain't got but $20 and the club costs $10 to get in. You got $10 to drink and to eat afterwards. So you buying what? One drink and then trying to go to get a taco or something afterwards? But then the party is going and you see a chick, you can't do anything. Money gives you options. And you feel some kind of way. The entire time you're there, you're not enjoying it. Because you're like, damn, man, they over here living it up and I'm behind. And if you got good friends, they may say, man, I got the drinks, I got the round, but there's something inside of you as a man. It's like, I'm tired of motherfuckers having to pay for my round. I'm tired of this shit, man. Because you don't like it. You like that's your manhood fucking with you.
It's a foundation of sand otherwise. You can't build on top of blaming other people. There's nothing that stands on it. At the very beginning, you have to accept that, which is the first two words, my fault, my responsibility, all me, I am source. And then once you can accept that one thing, and what's crazy is that one foundation is where 90% of people literally aren't. They're not there. They can't do it. The reason my girlfriend left me is because of this, not me. The reason I lost my job is because my employer was a dick. My boss sucked. Whatever, the economy. But it never serves you. Like, give me one instance, one example. This is to anyone who's listening to this. One example of when you blamed something else and it made you better. One. You can't find it because it's fundamentally not true. First, it's your fault. Second, spend less than you make. Third, take all of the excess and spend it on making more. Take the money you make, live on nothing, and the hard part is just swallowing the pride for the fact that in the short term, everyone's going to be right when they say that you're amounting to nothing. And that's the tough part. That's the glass that you have to swallow, that you have to pull towards you. And there's just no other way. The higher up in business you get, the more attractive the opportunities that you have to learn to say no to. That's why having like some of the soft stuff of like, this is the vision, this is what we're trying to do, and there's 100 other things I could do, but each of the cost of those things is the one thing that matters most. If we're looking at opportunities, that's why like risk-adjusted return is one of the things that a lot of investors look at, which is like, is there a way that I could appropriately adjust this risk to normalize different opportunities? And I think that single skill set is one of, if not the most important skill sets as an entrepreneur, because fundamentally it's betting. Like, that's what we're doing. We're making bets. Every day we bet with our time, we bet with our money. With the limited constraints we have, or limited resources we have, against unlimited opportunities. When we're organizing opportunities that we're going to pursue with a business, we look at what are the ones that we have the absolute highest likelihood of success, that we need no new skills and no new effort. If we can do that, or the least amount of new effort and no new skills, that would be the first thing we're going to do. And then once we take off all the ones that take basically no effort and no extra skills, we're like, okay, which ones take more effort and still no skills? And then once we do that, then we're like, okay, now we can start learning a new skill. And of the different skills that we could learn, which of these is going to give us the highest leverage, as in most output for the least amount of input?
Own your time. Own your choices. Because the harsh truth is this: as long as you keep making excuses, someone else who did is going to take the spot you said you wanted. When you let go of excuses, you start to realize just how much you've been getting in your own way. That's a hard pill to swallow. It's easier to blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck. But growth begins with ownership. It begins when you stop pointing fingers and start pointing thumbs right back at yourself. That's not self-blame. Because if you're the problem, you're also the solution. The grind doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired or busy or not in the mood. The grind respects action. It respects consistency. It rewards those who show up regardless. So if you want to be that person, if you want to separate yourself from the pack, you got to replace every excuse with effort. You got to flip the script. Instead of I can't, say I will find a way. Instead of I'm not ready, say well, I'm not ready. Say I prepare until I am. Instead of it's too hard, say I'm getting stronger. Excuses also live in comparison. When you spend your energy comparing your journey to someone else's, you start feeling like you're behind, like you're not good enough. That's when the excuses creep in. They have more support, or they started earlier, or they're more talented. But the truth is, you don't need to match someone else's pace. You just need to master your own. Your race is your race. And every time you stop to compare, you slow down your momentum. So keep your eyes on your lane and grind. The people who make it to the top didn't have perfect condition. They didn't have endless time, unlimited resources, or constant motivation. What they had was grit. What they had was the ability to silence their excuses and show up anyway. They learned to push through resistance. They understood that progress happens when comfort ends. And that mindset made all the difference. When you stop making excuses, something powerful happens. You start believing in your own potential. You start proving to yourself that you're capable. That belief builds over time. Each day you say no to an excuse and yes to action, you strengthen your confidence. You build trust in yourself, and that trust becomes unshakable. You stop needing validation from others because you know what you're made of. Excuses are also sneaky. Sometimes they wear the disguise of logic and practicality. I need more research. I should wait for the right timing. Let me get everything perfect first. But perfectionism is just fear dressed up as productivity. There will never be a perfect time. Conditions will never be ideal. Start where you are with what you have. Learn as you go. Adjust along the way. That's how winners move. Success demands responsibility. And responsibility means taking full ownership of your mindset and your actions. It means doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. It means understanding that every choice matters. Every excuse you eliminate brings you one step closer to your goal. Every day you show up without excuse, you become more unstoppable. So take a moment and look in the mirror, not just at who you are, but who you could be. What kind of life would you have if you stopped making excuses? What kind of goals would you smash? What kind of strength would you unlock? It's all within you unlock. You gotta get honest. You've gotta call yourself out because no one is coming to do it for you. The rise is on you. The grind is on you. Excuses may have gotten you this far, but they won't take you any further.
Manhood is telling you, no, man, you need to pay your own way. That's a positive sign. Here's the thing. Understand, make the next time the last time, to where you ain't got to do it again, to where somebody say, oh man, I got your drink, no, I'm good. Or even better, when this happens, when you actually start working and getting that shit ready and you go out with your friends and you say, first round's on me. Everybody be like, what? You bullshit. No, you didn't. First round's on me. Okay, what? Then get whatever you want. First round's on me. Oh, snap! That respect level that comes from your boys, because they may clown you a bit, but they really saying is, dude finally got his shit together. That's my dog right there. Man, the subtle glances men make to other men when we affirm each other's manhood, men decide who are men. Men decide, not women, men. And the women sit around and look at men affirming other men, and that's when you become more of select and on your way to pre-select. 18, you got a lot of runway left. One of the best things you can do is start surrounding yourself with people who are thinking like the person you want to be. When I hear young men call themselves losers, I'm always like, dude, you got a long way before you're a loser. Yeah, when I hear young guys call themselves losers, I understand the sentiment, but understand, you got a lot of runway. Use the time when you're living at home, recalibrating to really stack aside some cash. You want, several months of money to where you don't have to make dumb decisions for money.
And that's pretty much how we tick down which of these opportunities we want to pursue, because those have the lowest likelihood of not happening. I think that the investor frame is simply people who have been scored and quantified on their ability to make decisions. And so I think that we can learn a ton from how investors make decisions overall. It's like why Ray Dalio's book Principles became like a bestseller, even though 99.9% of people who are reading the book aren't even investors, or definitely not investors at his level. But the principles of good decision making are just quantified, and we have a scoreboard for these guys being excellent decision makers. Whereas most other people, you don't have a real scoreboard, so we can't tell how valid is their advice. And I think that's what makes taking advice from really world-class investors who've been doing it for decades as a great source of information, because we can validate that they have a stack of undeniable proof that they are who they say they are. If you can't define the inputs and outputs that are going to get you what you want, then there's no way to start, right? Because you don't know what you're supposed to do. Now, once you know what that input output is, the next one is, why aren't you doing it, right? And so I think a lot of people are looking for something that is very hard to find. And then they attribute their lack of success or lack of action because they don't have passion or motivation, right? And I was the same way. And then I got my job, so out of college, and I would read all the self-help books. I read, like, every night, that's all I did. I just read all these self-help books, and I found one of them that said, there are people who are wantrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. And I remember hearing that word wantrepreneur, but what if they're right? I am a wantrepreneur. I'm not an entrepreneur. I want to be one, and I'm not. And from that point, it took me 6 months to quit my job to actually decide to do the entrepreneurial thing. And there are many things that contributed to me being able to leave. And I think a lot of it's not like people are looking for one thing. It might be a big bag of whys, a lot of them, right? That add up together to be above your action threshold. And I think in the early days, people are looking for the big carrot. They want the big vision. They want the big passion, but they don't have it. But I'll give you the first rule of entrepreneurship that I've learned, which is use what you have. And a lot more people have pain. A lot more people have anger. A lot more people have shame. And if you can use that as your gas in the beginning, you'll eventually get to a point where you can get out of that loop and then find something that you are really passionate about. But if you can't tie your shoes, you can't lift the weight, you can't send the DM, then you have to start with whatever you have. And so for me, it was hatred of my current existence.
They don't belong in the next chapter of your story. Replace them with discipline, with hunger, with action. Choose to grind, choose to grow, choose to rise. Success is not accidental, it's intentional. It doesn't fall into your lap just because you want it. It doesn't come because you hope for it, prayed for it, or talked about it. Success comes to those who prepare for it, who plan for it, who act like it's already on its way. It's a mindset, a routine, a standard you live by every single day. If you want to rise, if you want to grind and make your dream a reality, you got to move like someone who already believes success is inevitable. You can't treat your goal like a hobby and expect it to pay you like a profession. Now, too many people say they want to win, but they're not moving like winners. They're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or for someone to come and help them. That's not how success works. Success responds to preparation and finds those who are ready. You don't get ready once the opportunity arrives. You stay ready so when the door opens, you can walk through it without hesitation. Preparation is your proof of belief. If you truly believe your dream is possible, your actions will reflect that belief. You'll wake up earlier, you'll study harder. You'll train longer, you'll cut off distraction. You'll invest your time, energy, and focus into building something great. You won't wait for motivation, you'll create it.
The main thing you need to focus on is not getting a chick pregnant before 35 years old and outside of a committed relationship. As long as you remain no kids, you got a lot of options. Obviously, we're talking about a legal thing, but every man gets tired because life comes in cycles. And because we as men lack men to wave us on down the path of life, we don't know where we're at. We don't know if we're good or bad or above or below. We just don't know. And because it's impolitic for men to admit they don't know something, most guys are just shamed into shutting up and shutting down. And all that makes you is a battery for somebody else to use. And I got no problem with society needing men to do what we do, but I want you to enjoy your life. It's yours. It's only one.